Oh, fuck. Interesting, interesting.
When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when bullets fly by? When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? Pop, pop when you hear the Glock. Duck down, nigga, cause I'm in your spot. Give it up, nigga, you might get shot. I'm the hot shot, so you gonna get shot. Any nigga out here might feel the my 9mm gonna make you drop. I talk about my 9 cause the shit so hot. When shit goes down, he's ready to pop. He's stressed out, and I'm trigger happy. I gotta face the life, and it feels so nasty. Believe me, this shit ain't easy. I'm a nigga with attitude, so fuck you pussy. When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when the bullets fly by? When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by?
Oh, you're white, you're white, you're white. That's why he's screaming at me. He's trying to argue with me on that level. Pretend he doesn't know I'm black. Why are you arguing with me saying I'm black? Pretend you don't know I said it. You can just agree. Pretend you don't know. Pretending I'm a white South African. White South African. I let my bullets fly by. Like kites in the sky, blue beams. I'm killing this rap shit. So what you gonna do when my bullets fly by? When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when bullets fly by? When bullets fly by, when bullets fly by, what you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by? So basically, you don't know, when it comes to property law or tenant law or whatever, private security on private property is essentially a special constable in the law. You can't do nothing about what happens inside your house. I mean, if he's walking by and sees somebody push their way in your house, you can try to help you, right? But he can't. Oh, I think they're doing something in that house. Like, even the police can't do nothing about what they think is happening in the house. Right? So, I say all that to say anything Muhammad could report me for. The Muhammad, it's my joke. The security guard is called Muhammad, so all the security guards are Muhammad, and their name is security. The only thing he could report me for is something either I did right in front of him that I can't be doing in some way, or what that idiot is telling me to do. So,
what you gonna do when the bullets fly by? What you gonna do when the bullets fly by?
I finished my muffin and my coffee like I was gonna.
What you gonna do?
Oh, it's $96. Yeah,
what you gonna
I can't remember that. It used to be 94. What's the difference? Try getting 2 toonies out of a fucking bank machine.
55. Humans are the most advanced. Dehors, là, ça va donner une structure pour peut-être faire passer certains messages. Du côté de la direction d'alphabet, les employés avec quoi nous avons donné soutenir. Ils ont tous défendu aussi d'avoir intimidé certains employés.
So that's why he disappears for 5 or 10 minutes off the chat and comes back with French, or comes back with, oh, he lives in this apartment in this building. See, I was trying to figure out, he did get the apartment number wrong. And I don't care if he sees this and figures this out. I want to give this away right away. If you follow the links down here, you will eventually find photos, and some of them inadvertently, or I don't care, have the apartment number. And he put the wrong apartment number. Because when he's watching on the security camera, this is how I know it's the same guy. Someone in the building trying to bother me. Remember, 350 apartments, I did the math, and there could be easily 900 people. If you were to put 2 in each room, or I forget how I did the math. Out of 900, 1 out of 1,000 don't like me. That's okay. That's like a 0.1% disapproval rating. But anyway, he'll sit down there with his worker. I don't know what kind of worker this is. He came up George Street, which is Seton House, to here. Yeah, he's a crackhead. But so after throwing blood in my face, like 2 days later, that weekend or whatever, he's sitting there all fucking day with his worker watching the security cameras, and for some reason they're playing them for him. I don't know what he's looking for. I mean, for like 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours they were down there, some shit, like all fucking day. And you know, cameras and blind spots. You can't tell for sure which apartment door is which that I'm going in and out of if you're watching on the camera. And I don't have mad numbers of crackheads coming to my door. That's why I don't answer the door when these idiots come to cause grief. That's the only reason why. But they're trying to prove which apartment door it is or some shit. I don't know what they're doing. And I guess it means he's never walked on this floor and looked at the fucking stickers and shit on the door. Or he's going to deny it. Yeah, I don't know that he's black and native. He's white. He's white because he's South African like me. See, he can't say that. He's contradicting. He's exposing himself on every level. He's trying to pretend he don't know nothing. Man, dude's old as fuck. He's walking around without a cane now. See, I'm observing his health because I'm scientific like the Nazis. He threw blood in my face. I'm watching his health. That's why I don't want him evicted or nothing. May give it another year, and then I won't care.
Real hip hop shit, you couldn't get involved. One dose will do you in like this is fentanyl. Not sleeping like I couldn't go to bed at all. Problems so you fuck with the kid that you could get away. I see everybody talk about mumble rappers. What the fuck it mean to you? I thought y'all was humble rappers. City fucking trash, but they stay fucking platinum mumble rappers. Tell me what they say about you as a rapper. Yo, it's so skilled, so ill and so real. Real recognize real and yo with a soul milk. At least I like to think. Y'all say poppin' bottles, I guess I like to drink. White, I like to blink. Nice to bring space, but it's safe and pink. Y'all are thinking robbing the through the road when I'm with Pink. And I ain't talking about chains, bro. You hustlers playing, yeah, yo, stay scraping chains, though. I stay making shit, my lanes with a paint, so. Couple bodies in the truck and I ain't paying peace, so. A race so much, I'm not day, all the secret. And with this bitch, come get your skate, bro. Fuck you rappers, think you wanna catch a body quick. Fuck you rappers, I don't bother, we the opposite. Fuck you rappers, we ain't partners who conglomerate. I beat my mom.
And you're not rappers either. You're just stealing the next one. Like you talk to stream,
fuck you rappers.
We went through this whole
2016. You about to watch the audience. And the killer, but I can change your pockets quick. It ain't quick, but you about to see the pockets slip. Ribbit, not a fuck on no gimmicks. Yo, you only got a vision, but I think he gon' spin it. Even though I couldn't save you if you bust on my spinach. Fine line in this business, if you cross it, you finish. Keep your enemies close and your friends at a distance. They say money makes you do shit. I got all types of business. Multi-encrypted, kinda like the life that I'm living. Everything within reach, I got my hands in position. My boss told me eat for the stars, that's where the money.
Élection sénatoriale en Géorgie, républicains et démocrates. 4th of January. Here's what's making news this hour. Ontario reporting another daily COVID case count over 3,000 as health officials in Toronto prepare to announce more restrictions.
Now, wouldn't that sound better if you heard them say it themselves?
Vaccine rollout.
That's the videographer.
Andrea Horvath wants MPs to return to Queen's Park. Ruining my life's goal. Ontarians driving badly.
Really, all I'm doing this for right now is
more than 340 impaired driving charges were laid, while more than 140 people were charged with street racing or stunt driving. Healthcare professionals drawing attention to COVID-19's aerosol transmission.
What we are not addressing is the
risk of air
and say funding is needed for ventilation upgrades and long-term care.
They don't get it till tomorrow, they won't sign up.
The
GSXC gives advance
It has to be a close play. But it is back on the stretch for these guys. Working side by side, they got yellow line.
The left lane is blocked, and that's because of a collision. Ultimately taking that ramp out. So northbound on Victoria Park at the 401, the two right lanes are blocked because of the same problem. But no delays on the northbound of Victoria Park as you get towards the 401. Just watch for those lane restrictions. Eastbound on the 401 approaching Trafalgar, that problem has cleared. No longer seeing any delays through that stretch. We did have some debris reported on the eastbound 401 east of Nielsen in the collectors, so be careful in the right lane. Watch out for a garbage bag.
Now that will prove that your schizophrenic disease. So these bastards will hang up the intercoms and answer the door. And I'm making sure that works so I can let in people like the mail.
And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Mostly cloudy and overcast.
They know that.
It's a very comfortable afternoon in terms of temperatures.
They flip the fuck out, it sounds. They didn't make.
Very comfortable, stable temperature trend.
I don't like ringing, dial tones, or anything.
-2. We may see a few flurries linger into early Tuesday morning and some sunny breaks expected through the day tomorrow. Highs near 0. The guaranteed high today, 2 degrees. Right now in downtown Toronto, it is cloudy and 0.
That's why he starts off now trying to call me a clown. Mitch, 555-122. That was the other day. 604. 555. Show you that it's like a real call.
COVID-19 today with over 39,100 tests completed. 917 of those cases in Toronto, 581 in Peel.
That's normal. That's how I know what's normal and not normal on this machine. I've been using
Toronto's top doctor promising imminent new restrictions.
All of a sudden, out of the blue, it starts doing weird shit. Yeah, because the box is faulty. Because it's cheap. You're mad that I pay $50 or something, they pay $100.
We'll be carrying that announcement live on 680 News. Now, 2021 does bring hope with two
try to find a crack dealer, they got $40 in their hands. They just switched out their crack dealer.
Pfizer and Moderna.
I don't know why you're
There has
talking
been
to me.
criticism sleeves have not been rolled up fast enough. Just 42,419 doses have been administered so far as of 8 p.m. Sunday, with about 100,000 still in the freezer. Moments ago, PSW at Rickey Center became the first person to receive a second dose of the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. Premier Doug Ford was promising things will start to move faster.
Once we get rolling, we'll be number one in the entire country. Hoping we'll be number one in North America. We're going to be going full steam.
Well, Mexico and the United States.
A biostatistician who spoke with Breakfast Television this morning says Ontario needs to ramp it up to 30,000 doses per day if they do want to vaccinate the entire population of Ontario by the end of 2021. Reporting live, I'm Kate Lindley.
NDP leader Andrea Horwath wants MPPs to return to Queen's Park. She's now calling on the legislature to be recalled immediately so MPPs can start working on the crisis in long-term care homes and the rollout of the COVID vaccines. Now, Queen's Park adjourned back on December the 8th, and 2 days earlier than expected, it's scheduled not to return until February 16th.
It would seem there were fewer drunk drivers this holiday season compared to last year, but there were still a lot of people breaking the rules on the road. 680's Moment Qureshi joins us live with the numbers for the OPP. Moment.
What's this from?
That's right, Sarah. Sergeant Carrie Schmidt with the OPP out with the numbers of how people were behaving on the road over the holiday break beginning on December 20th.
Across the province, the OPP laid 346 impaired driving charges. And that's a lot.
He doesn't sleep
During
at
that
night.
same period of time, another 141 people were charged with street racing or stunt driving.
In fact, just today, the OPP say they busted an 18-year-old for going 186 kilometers per hour on the QEW by St. Catharines. And even though we're only on day 4 of this year, already a few people have been charged.
79 charges have been laid for impaired driving or alcohol or drug-related impaired driving charges. Also, in the last 4 days, 33 people have been taken off the road for street racing.
49, I'm Mo Qureshi.
Well, Peel Police say they charged 2 men after 2 of their cruisers were rammed by a vehicle in Mississauga. This one happened yesterday morning in the Britannia and Dixie Road area. Police say they were trying to investigate the vehicle when the driver purposely drove into the cruisers. Now, 2 Brampton men in their 20s have been arrested and charged now. Thankfully, no one was hurt in the incident or the arrests have been made. Police say the vehicle was stolen from a driveway in a Brampton home back in December.
Well, Canada needs to limit the spread of COVID-19 through shared indoor air, and a group of scientists and healthcare professionals is urging government leaders to do more. City News reporter Chris Curries explains.
In a letter signed by more than 500, the group wants provincial leaders to mandate and fund upgrades in ventilation systems in public buildings.
What we are not addressing is the risk and shared.
You turn off, they're not getting it. They won't enforce the law that says it must be on for your occupancy certificate is invalid. It's illegal to live in a fucking building.
And these places are essentially breeding grounds for COVID-19.
Dr. Jennifer McDonald is a rehabilitation physician in Ottawa and says as Canadians spend more time indoors, more must be done, which is on top of the typical mask wearing, hand washing, and social distancing. She compares COVID-19 to secondhand smoke. You may get a strong smell if you're next to the cigarette, but you'll likely get a whiff, even if you're simply nearby.
You stop breathing about 5 minutes
City
before that.
Well, this portion of 680 News brought to you today by Ultimate Dental.
That's why when they find your body,
live on Edmonton tonight is Canada battles Russia at the World Junior Hockey Championship. And as we hear from our Simon Bennett, of course, a spot in tomorrow's gold medal game is definitely on the line.
When Canada faces Russia in this tournament, the game is almost always a classic. All time since 1993, so post-Soviet Union, Canada has 14 wins against them, 12 losses, and a tie. Most recently, a win in last year's gold medal game. But expect a different looking matchup than past years. Toronto native Team Canada's Jamie Drysdale.
Last year they were kind of a run-and gun team. I've noticed they're a little bit more patient with the puck.
Sportsnet Sam Cosentino said this should be close.
It's typical. It's going to be bitter. It's going to be nasty. That's going to be fun.
Puck drop is at 6 p.m. in Edmonton. The other semifinal tonight is the USA facing Finland. I'm Simon Bennett.
Well, by noon today, the country's top-paid CEOs have made as much as the average worker's full-year paycheck. More from Mike Epple at the Business Center.
Canada's top 100 highest-paid CEOs will already have been paid more than $53,000 by the lunchtime today, the equivalent of the average full-year salary of Canadian workers. The Canadian Center for Policy Alternatives says it indicates the wage disparity across the country. Report author David McDonald tells the Toronto Star the top 100 paid CEOs made a minimum of $6.3 million in 2019. The report indicates that more than a third of the top 100 earners ran companies in 2020 that received federal wage subsidies for employees, including Air Canada, restaurant brands TELUS, and Aphria. Only the CEOs of Air Canada, Gildan, and BRP agreed to waive their salaries over the past year. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Epple.
And in just 30 seconds, we'll have a check on the price of gas.
Huge number of Walmart employees are just deployed now. So Walmart.com.
Your life has taken a bit of a break, but your dental health shouldn't. At Ultimate Dental, our enhanced cleaning and sterilization protocols will help keep you safe at your appointment, while our team of professionals keep your oral and overall health in check. We also offer our patients a 0% interest payment plan, so you can get the treatment you need when you need it. Located across Ontario and the GTA, contact your local Ultimate Clinic or visit ultimatedental.com to find a dental professional near you. Ultimate Dental, care beyond your smile.
And now the 680 News gas price update and process. The price of gas not going to change at midnight tonight. Should hold at $1.07.9 a liter.
680 News time, 12:10.
Your furnace is broken. Call Reliance Home Comfort 24/7 and we'll get there fast. Only Reliance has over 45,000 five-star reviews, so you can depend on us to put you first and take safety precautions. Need a great deal on a new one? Call now. Ask about our next-day installation guarantee and get a $1,000 Visa gift card, plus a Google Nest thermostat when you buy a featured furnace. Need a great deal fast?
unemployment insurance, and probably a few on disability and pensions and stuff.
We all know family and friends have been recommending Capital Direct for years, and now with the
so they are subsidized because they couldn't keep those employees without that money stopped coming
Capital Direct's lending criteria are less strict. Whether you could use $50,000 or $1.5 million, your money could be in your bank account within days. Right through your record lows, so call Capital Direct today at 1-800-NEW-CAPITAL to see what's available for you.
They go on and on about horrible collision and whatever the fuck
Time 12:11.
Time now for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by Sportsnet. Westbound on the 401 on the ramp to Victoria Park, the left lane remains closed. It's because of a collision that's on Victoria Park. Northbound at the 401, the two right lanes are blocked northbound Victoria Park there. Tow trucks are on the scene. Looks like this should clear soon, so just watch out for this. Northbound on Victoria Park and westbound 401 at the end of that ramp. Eastbound on the 401, that's busy as you head past Mississauga Road, and we have debris reported east of Nielsen in the collectors in the right lanes, so be careful through that stretch. It was reports of a garbage bag. Eastbound 407, there's no access to that route from southbound Yonge. That ramp to the eastbound 407 is closed for snow removal. And on city streets, traffic spotters telling me about a number of traffic lights out along Queensway between the West Mall and Atomic. They're all out through that stretch, so please be very careful. Make sure that you're treating every intersection as an always stop. And police reporting that Kipling is blocked in both directions south of Horner at Towns because of a fire. Every time you watch an illegal sports stream, an angel loses its wings. Live stream sports with Sportsnet now. Visit snnow.ca for details. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. A gray day, but very comfortable conditions. Mild weather for the next couple of weeks here as we move through the start of January. A very comfortable weather pattern has set up over the Great Lakes. This means the GTA will be slightly above seasonal. Overnight tonight, lows near -2. We're mainly cloudy Tuesday with a few sunny breaks near 0. And down to -4 Tuesday night. Your guaranteed high today, 2 degrees. Right now in downtown Toronto, it is cloudy and 0. Over at Pearson Airport, the same conditions. 680 News Time, 12:13.
Now the dynamic funds market minute, and for that, let's check in at the business center. How are things looking so far, Irene?
Well, Steve, the TSX just turned negative, down 3 points to 17,430. Not a huge drop, but to think at one point we were higher by more than 150 points. Gold stocks, though, still ahead. The gold index is higher by almost 7%. The price for the precious metal, up $49 to $1944.60 an ounce. Crude futures going the other way, down 88 cents to $47.64. On Wall Street, the losses continue to grow. The Dow looking at its biggest drop in more than 2 months. We're now down 683 points. The S&P 500 lower by 72. The NASDAQ is down 321. Percentage-wise, the biggest loser, that works out to 2.46%. The Canadian dollar along for the ride lower, 39/100ths of a cent, 78.18 cents U.S. At the Business Center, I'm Irene Precklip.
Markets are changing more than ever. A financial advisor can help address your evolving portfolio needs. Speak to a financial advisor and learn more at dynamic.ca/advice.
At Shell, we're taking care, because taking care of you.
On pourrait être vraiment...
Radio Cine, for Italian music lovers.
Oh, that's why they don't match. I'm on the wrong station. I'm trying to figure out what happened to the French.
On parle évidemment beaucoup des voyageurs qui rentrent du Sud, etc., mais la transmission communautaire reste la principale raison pour laquelle il y a des éclosions. Là.
C'est généralisé, mais il y a de la transmission qui est venue aussi par les gens qui rentraient du Sud. Pas nécessairement acquis dans le Sud, on s'entend, là, mais quand on est dans un tout compris, ordinairement, il y a plus d'alcool, il y a plus de relâchement de mesures et les gens peuvent se sentir contaminés ou encore se contaminer dans l'avion à l'aller ou au retour parce qu'on sait que la distance dans les avions, là, elle n'est pas très grande et le port d'un couvre-visage, c'est pas une protection blindée.
Vous avez dit que ce confinement-là est une espèce de semi-échec. Est-ce qu'on doit attendre encore de voir les effets ou si on les a vus, les effets, là, puis on sait que ça n'a pas marché?
On sait que ça a marché
plus ou moins, disons.
Je pense qu'on peut se permettre d'attendre pas longtemps, par exemple, quelques jours, parce qu'on voit là aujourd'hui 2500 cas, avant c'était plutôt 2800, et on avait décéléré la croissance, voir si demain, après-demain, là, on continue de diminuer nos cas. C'est à surveiller.
Une des grandes inquiétudes pour les parents, c'est les écoles. Est-ce qu'on doit garder les écoles fermées, au moins au secondaire, parce que, bon, au primaire, c'est plus difficile, puis l'enseignement à distance fonctionne certainement moins bien, mais au moins les écoles secondaires?
Ça pourrait être une mesure là, qui pourrait être prise. Certainement pas au primaire, pour toutes sortes de raisons. Aujourd'hui, là, on voit que des enfants dans leur famille peuvent être vraiment très à risque, puis l'école est un milieu de signalement pour la DPJ qui est essentiel. On ne peut pas s'en priver trop longtemps. Mais pour le secondaire, il pourrait y avoir un effort de ce côté-là. Il y a d'autres mesures aussi qui pourraient être en place. Vous savez, au secondaire, on demande aux élèves de porter des couvre-visages. Mais les couvre-visages, ça a une efficacité qui est dépendante du couvre-visage en question. Il y en a qui sont très efficaces, puis il y en a d'autres qui ne sont pas du tout. Alors, on pourrait peut-être passer à des mesures plus efficaces comme les masques de procédure, par exemple, qui empêcherait la transmission de façon vraiment sérieuse comparativement au couvre-visage.
Mais quand on regarde les chiffres à l'international puis le taux d'infection per capita, c'est pas mal pareil dans tous les pays actuellement. En France, en Angleterre, on regarde ça. On est dans la moyenne. Est-ce que c'est pas, au fond, un peu un problème, littéralement, de nature humaine? Les gens sont un peu fatigués, une lassitude envers les mesures, et puis qu'à un moment donné, le problème vient de là.
C'est vraiment ce que je pense, là. Les gens se sont habitués à vivre avec le virus, et puis ils en ont assez des mesures qui sont trop sévères. Et puis quand on en met davantage, là, c'est comme si on fermait un boyau d'arrosage. À un moment donné, il y a des fuites qui se font quand on garde la pression un peu partout, là. Alors, je pense que effectivement, là, ce qu'on appelle la fatigue COVID, c'est en place. Ce qui est dommage, là, c'est qu'on est vraiment dans les derniers 1000. D'ici la fin février, toutes les personnes les plus à risque vont avoir été vaccinées. Ouais. Donc, si on pouvait diminuer nos contacts de façon générale, d'ici ce temps-là, ça nous permettrait là, d'entrevoir un printemps beaucoup plus radieux.
En espérant que vous soyez entendu, Marie-France Reynaud, chef du département de médecine préventive et de santé publique au CHUM à Montréal. Merci beaucoup d'avoir été là.
Merci à vous.
Au revoir.
Vous aimez nos entrevues? Vous pouvez les réécouter où que vous soyez et quand vous le voulez sur l'application Radio-Canada Audio. Vous n'avez qu'à la télécharger.
23rd to attend a memorial service for her uncle and father who died within weeks of each other. She returned 8 days later. Meantime, the Montreal MP went to Delaware on December 18th to visit his wife's sick grandfather. Chief Government Whip Mark Holland says both MPs followed all the local health and safety advice during their trips. A list of lawmakers who went abroad despite public health pleas to avoid it is up on 680news.com. I'm Mitch Burke.
Well, coming up in just 60 seconds, we will have a look at the roads. Carrie Prunska is standing by there, and we'll check your extended forecast.
News Time 12:20. Your employment rights with Lior Samfiru from employmentlawyer.ca.
If you've lost your job during COVID-19, you may be entitled to significantly more compensation than you realize. Before the pandemic, 9 out of 10 employees were offered inadequate severance packages by their employer. Now, severance offers are more deficient than ever at a time when Canadians are in desperate need of support. Before you accept any severance offer, find out what you are truly owed. Otherwise, you could be leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. Don't settle for what your employer wants to pay you. Get what the law says you should receive. Contact me at employmentlawyer.ca and discover why my employment law firm
I just want to know if it got told later. Because they'll keep
in Canada.
Sorry, I think
Contact employment lawyer Lior Samfiru today. Get the advice you need and the compensation you deserve. Visit employmentlawyer.ca. That's employmentlawyer.ca. 680 News Time, 12:21.
Time now for traffic and weather. Together on the ones, here's Carrie Prunskis.
This report is brought to you by TSC. I just had a call from a traffic spotter northbound on the 400 at Finch. Watch out in the left lane. We have reports of a ladder. I can see MTO is moving the cameras in this area. Don't see it just yet, but use extra caution through this stretch of the northbound 400 heading past Finch. Watch out in that left lane. Westbound on the 401, problems on the ramp to Victoria Park have cleared. So northbound Victoria Park at the 401, all lanes reopened. No delays in the area. Eastbound on the 401, I spoke with the MTO about the debris east of Nielsen and the collectors. That's been removed. So we're in great shape now on the eastbound 401 across the GTA. Eastbound 407, we still have the southbound Young rail to the eastbound 407 closed off, and that's for snow. On streets, Queensway between the West Mall and Atomic, the traffic lights are back up and running again through that stretch. So that's some good news. But Toronto Police reporting that Kipling is blocked in both directions south of Horner at Towns, and that is all due to a fire in the area. Support your healthy lifestyle with VitaTree's calcium and magnesium supplements available at TSC. Get them today and save 40%. Shop tsc.ca, today's shopping choice. And now with the extended forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. Very mild temperatures to kick off the week, and really the first half of the month looks very comfortable here in terms of temperatures for the GTA and southern Ontario. Also an uneventful forecast, so we do have to do any commuting on the road. We don't have a ton of active weather that we have to concern ourselves with. That's the good news. It's a mostly cloudy day today, but we'll have more sunshine in the forecast for tomorrow. Wednesday looks fantastic. Sun and cloud, highs near 2 degrees, and a bright and sunny Thursday. High pressure, highs near 0. The guaranteed high for today, 2 degrees. Right now in downtown Toronto, cloudy, it's 0, feels like -3 in the wind, and those same conditions at Pearson Airport. 680 News Time, 12:23.
So, how's your blood pressure? Pretty good? What if I said fixed or variable? 3 years or 5, 10, 25%, or maybe no down payment at all? Self-employed, bad credit, lots of consumer debt? So how's your pressure now? Yeah, pretty much what I thought. You want to make the most important financial decision of your life, and we want to help you make it, no matter what your finances are like. Northwood Mortgage, 416-969-8130, or visit us online at northwoodmortgage.com. License 10349.
680 News, first at 5.
With Laura Carney and Mitch Burke.
Weekday mornings at 5 on 680 News.
Ask for us on your smart speaker.
You're listening to 680 News. Turns out Wonder Woman 1984, #1 at the box office. You probably haven't heard that in a while. Earning $5.5 million in its second weekend in a limited number of theaters that have been open during the pandemic.
The time will come, Diana. Everything will be different.
It's a 67% drop, by the way, for the superhero sequel, which is also streaming on HBO Max. Now, Crude's The New Ages, earning $2.2 million in its 6th week in theaters, taking second place. And the Tom Hanks Western News of the World, rounding up the top 3 with $1.7 million. Some good news for restaurants in the Halifax area. Health officials have now cleared the way for restaurants and bars to reopen their dining rooms today. The move comes after weeks of closures aimed at stopping the spread of COVID-19. It is also implemented ahead of schedule because of some good case numbers over the holiday. Now, there are still some restrictions in place, including closing up shop by 11 o'clock at night. Coming up in just 60 seconds, we've got Irene Preble standing by at the Business Center looking at some big bucks for the country's top CEOs.
680 News Time, 12:25.
That's how pathetic this guy is. The more these guys, I guess, the more they harass, the more I'm teaching them how it does and doesn't work. And they're using the stuff I'm telling them.
Forgot an anniversary? They even saved our rear ends. Our local spots were there for all of life's little emergencies, even when they didn't feel so little. And now that they're the ones in need, it's our turn to be there for them. So shop safely and show your love for local. Ontario, yours to rediscover.
donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pick up is quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today, and your car can be gone tomorrow.
680 News Time, 1226.
Time now for the 680 News Business Report. Let's check in at the Business Center with Irene Franklin. Irene, we're talking big bucks. Not in our paychecks, but of course we're talking big bucks for the country's CEOs today.
Oh yeah, Steve. So it's the first day back at work for many of us after the holiday break. And before most of us had lunch, and I would like to add I brown bagged it today, the average top 100 Canadian CEO made as much money as most of us will make the entire year. That's the finding of an annual report by the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives, which shows in 2019, the average pay of a top 100 CEO was $10.8 million. In comparison, the average individual income in Canada for 2019 was $53,482. That was about just over $1,000 gain from the year before, while for CEOs, it was a slight year-over-year drop. Slack, the messaging service used by millions of people for work and school, suffering a global outage the first day back for most people returning from the New Year's holiday. It's the latest template to show how disruptive technical difficulties can be when millions of people are depending on just a few services to work and go to school from home during the pandemic. The company stopped releasing its daily user counts after topping 12 million last year. Slack apologizing today and asking users to check for updates. On the markets, the TSX at one point, a more than triple-digit climb, briefly turning negative. There could be some dancing on either side of even this afternoon. We're back in positive territory, albeit it is just a 10-point gain to 17,443. It really is gold stocks helping the TSX remain positive. The price for the precious metal is up $43 to $19.38 an ounce. Futures going the other way, lower by 89 cents to $47.64. The big story here, the decline on Wall Street. We're looking at the biggest drops in more than 2 months. The Dow right now is down 617 points to 29,992. The S&P 500 is lower by 86. The NASDAQ is dropping 282 points. That's a drop of more than 2%. The loonie down for the ride, lower by 34/100 valued at 78.23 cents U.S. At the Business Center, I'm Irene Franklin.
Hi, Anthony Longo here. We're making it easier to save you money and check everything off your shopping list with our new line of Longo's Essentials. Common household products that combine the quality Longo's is known for with prices that will save you the hassle of shopping around. Things like butter and spices, garbage bags, and aluminum foil. You know, the everyday stuff. Just look for the packaging with a big check mark to check everything off your list. Check-y, check, check, check. For quality that meets your family standards, trust ours, Longo's.
It's just common sense. A flexi line by Capital Direct allows you to manage your funds more effectively and gives you that financial peace of mind. Think of it as secure lending so you can do all the things you've been dreaming about, whether it's a basement renovation or taking care of tuition. It's the smart move that allows you to take only what you need when you want it. Whether you could use $50,000 or $1.5 million, that cash is available to you. Call Capital Direct today at 1-800-NEW-CAPITAL. CA.
Local news, weather, and traffic as it happens.
680 News.
Meteorologist, actually weather specialist Denise Andriacci's forecast for the day today, looking at mostly cloudy conditions with a guaranteed high of 2 degrees. For tonight, looking at maybe a chance of some flurries and or some patchy drizzle, all of course depending on the temperature, low down to -2. And then tomorrow, chance of some flurries in the morning, but then mostly cloudy and high only 1. And right now in downtown, we've got overcast conditions and 0.
At the end of the month, when most banks were just
James Mackin is at the digital desk in 680 News Time, 12:30.
Number 1 for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Here are Sarah Barrett and Steve
We're the
Roberts.
only industry that pays money for carbon
Good afternoon.
dioxide.
It's Monday, January 4th.
We're the only industry, primary production industry,
We are down 4,
pays
promising
cash
to
money for
ramp
carbon
up
dioxide. I don't think it makes sense to do that.
Number 1 in
But we are the only industry that does that.
Another day of over
Put a
3,000
carbon tax on, the
cases.
only industry that sucks up the carbon. Oh, logging could be seen as renewable if they were managing their own stands.
140 stunt driving or street racing charges were laid over the break. Upgrades are needed at many publicly funded buildings.
Terrible ventilation.
And scientists calling on the feds to chip in and better inform the public of the risks.
And one arrest has been made, but the search continues for a second suspect accused of stealing a dog in Whitby last week.
Raptors try for that second win against Boston tonight on Sportsnet. Leafs begin an 8-day fast track at Camp Sports at 45.
The TSX remains slightly positive, higher by 10 points. A very different story on Wall Street, where the Dow is down 640 points, and an internet giant now has some unionized workers. Business at 56.
680 News Time, 12:31.
It's time for traffic and weather together all at once. Here's Carrie Prunskis. This report is brought to you by 407 ETR. If you're planning to take the 407 eastbound, there's no access to that route for southbound Young. That ramp to the East 407 is still closed for snow removal. No delays in the area, though. Eastbound on the 401, we're looking at a smooth drive across the GTA. No problems on the westbound side of the 401. And it looks like that ladder has been removed on the northbound 400 near Finch. On city streets downtown, Star Bay and Young reduced to a single lane, both directions between Lakeshore and Front, and that's for long-term construction. And in the west end of the city, Toronto Police reporting that Kipling is blocked in both directions south of Horner at Towns, and that's for a fire investigation. The safety of drivers, both on and off the road, means everything to 407 ETR. That's why they've developed a COVID assistance program for those who need it most. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi. A mild pattern has set up here across southern Ontario for the start of January, and this means very comfortable temperatures for the GTA for the next couple of days. It is a mostly cloudy afternoon, maybe a few sunny breaks here and there. We could see a few flurries overnight into early Tuesday morning, but other than that, very quiet and non-eventful for the next couple of days here in the city. Your guaranteed high, 2 degrees.
So it pretty much describes the temperature right now. Uneventful. 0 is the high right now in the core. We got those same conditions at Pearson. 680 News Time, 12:33.
A personal support worker in Toronto has become the first person to receive a second dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Amidst criticism, the rollout is going too slow. The comes as Ontario reports more surging COVID case counts. 3,270 new infections reported today, along with 29 more deaths.
And 680's Caitlin Lee joining us live now with the very latest. Caitlin.
And Steve, Anita Quidanjan, a PSW at the Rakai Center, said she was happy to roll up her sleeve this morning for the second time.
For the safety of my residents.
For the safety of my residents?
And
your residents, because you own them. They're not clients.
Quidanjan, one of 4 personal support workers, getting a second dose of the Pfizer vaccine today. As of Sunday at 8 p.m., the province had administered 42,419 doses of both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines.
They keep telling me I'm a thief because I call myself
was 4,808.
Every fucking time I get one of these
seeming low, prompting criticism about the vaccine rollout. COVID-19 biostatistician Ryan Ingram told Breakfast Television this morning the province needs to pick up the pace.
We need around 30,000 vaccinations per day if we want to vaccinate the entire Ontario population by the end of this year. Right now, we're doing about 4,000 to 5,000 per day.
Now, Premier Doug Ford addressing this morning, he promised vaccination numbers will go up.
We're ramping it up, and you're going to see a significant difference over the next few weeks there.
However, the general public likely will have a while yet to wait before they can get a shot. General Rick Hillier, the head of Ontario's COVID-19 task force, has said it won't be widely available.
If it was on the front page of the Ontario website, if there was a link that worked.
And the most vulnerable populations will be getting it first. Reporting live on People COVID-19 outbreaks are now being reported in 219 long-term care homes in Ontario. The Toronto Star calls it a record high for the pandemic. The province's latest numbers show 14 more LTC residents have died, which adds up to 2,795 since day one. 10 more long-term care employees have tested positive for a total of just over 1,100. The Star reports since January of 2020, 8 staff members at provincial long-term care homes have died because of the virus. The highest number of deaths to this point has been at Tender Care Living Center in Scarborough, while St. George Care Community near DuPont and Avenue has the most number of active cases at 94.
Well, you're listening to 680 News. It's now 12:35. A group of healthcare professionals and scientists now urging the federal government to step up efforts in fighting COVID-19, but in a very specific way. City News reporter Chris Carice is here to explain.
Case counts are soaring, and more than 500 signatures called on the feds to address the transmission of COVID-19 through the air. Dr. Jennifer McDonald is one of them, a rehab physician at the Ottawa Hospital, who says aerosols linger, especially in poorly ventilated public buildings, like long-term care homes. And she says it's frustrating that those workers are being blamed for massive outbreaks at facilities.
Most people are trying to follow the rules. The problem is the rules are not complete. So if you don't tell people about this additional risk, they're going to have trouble succeeding.
The goal is to get the feds and provinces to mandate funding for assessments and upgrades to facilities, but a good first step would be better informing the public of the risks of aerosol transmission. Chris Carice, City News.
Provincial police laid hundreds of impaired driving charges over the holidays. 680's Momi Qureshi joins us live with more details from the OPP.
I know exactly what it is.
That's right, Sarah. We'll be releasing stats from December 20th on to the just yesterday, saying that while traffic on the roads was down, there were still people behaving irresponsibly.
Over the Christmas holiday, starting from Sunday, December 20th until this morning, across the province, the OPP laid 346 impaired driving charges. Now, that's a lot.
Kerry Schmidt, the sergeant of the OPP, also says that there were more than 140 speed racing or stunt driving tickets that were handed out. And he said some of those have happened just this year.
79 charges have been laid for impaired driving or alcohol or drug-related impaired driving charges. Also, in the last 4 days, 33 people have been taken off the road for street racing.
And just today, the OPP busted an 18-year-old for going 189 kilometers on the QEW near St. Catharines. So I'm reporting live. I'm Momi Qureshi.
You're listening to 680 News. It's now 12:37. In an unprecedented open letter, all 10 living former U.S. defense secretaries are now warning against using the military to try and change the outcome of the American election.
The 10 former Pentagon chiefs signed an opinion piece in the Washington Post. It implicitly questions whether President Trump will peacefully give up power on January 20th. They warn that involving the military in pursuing claims of election fraud would take the country into dangerous territory.
Because it's
the time
so
for questioning the
clear
results,
that there
they
hasn't been a
say,
fraud.
has passed. The 10 men who signed the piece include James Mattis and Mark Esper, two of President Trump's former defense secretaries. I'm Rita Foley. President Trump and President-elect Joe Biden are campaigning in Georgia. Both parties are bringing in the heavy hitters. President Trump travels to Georgia tonight to rally Republicans ahead of Tuesday's runoff elections. 2 Senate races are on the ballot. President-elect Joe Biden is also on the campaign trail in Georgia today, trying to rev up Democrats. The balance of power in the Senate is at stake in these 2 runoff races. Both parties are pouring money and energy into getting out voters. These races have the potential to make or break Biden's presidency. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
As millions return to work and school today for the first time in 2021, a popular messaging service has now suffered a global outage. Slack says it's investigating the problem, apologizing for any trouble that the issue may be causing. Now, the outage began around 10 o'clock Eastern Time this morning, disrupting services here in Canada, the U.S., Germany, India, the U.K., Japan, and elsewhere.
City News Time, 12:39.
Your depression is not responding.
Hey, recorded.
Disability claim has been denied. My name is Aaron Watson. And if your disability claim has been denied for any reason, call me at 416-661-4878. And don't worry about our legal fees, because there are none. At my law firm, my team of lawyers only get paid when you get paid. And before you call, you should always remember that there are no bad questions. 416-661-4878 or on your cell phone at pound LTD.
Now the 680 News gas price update, and Pro predicts the price will not change at midnight. It'll stay at $1.07.9 a liter.
680 News Time, 1240.
When 680 News listeners are on the road, they like to save time and stay safe, and that's why 407 ETR chooses 680 News to connect with drivers.
Hi, my name is Kevin Tack, and I'm the Vice President of Communications and Marketing at 407 ETR, the toll road that gets people where they need to be on time.
We advertise on 680 News specifically.
The programming of the station that occurs every hour of the day is what drives people to listen to the station, and also hear the news about breaking traffic and weather. And we know that's an important place for drivers to go. We know that we put our message there.
Pavement warning.
407 ETR has been on 680 News for many years.
And then maybe I'll check out this stuff. Last week they had stewed Jamaican beef. Here's the problem I have. I have a Jamaican beef with this Jamaican beef. There are no Jamaicans working there. All South Africans. White South Africans too. That's the funniest part. Watching people who identify as black. I can't fucking straighten this up. They call themselves black. They're kissing a white South African's ass, hating on a black person of South African descent who is not South African and who is not a white South African. And when I say South African descent, I mean Congolese, but we must have got here from South Africa. That's the Dutch colony, because if you want to leave Congo, no matter which direction you go in to get to the coast, you got to go through another country. South Africa would have been the best bet at certain points in time, most likely to get on a boat. Where it's going is another story. But there was so much cross traffic and cross dock shit, cross dock on and off, one boat to another, truck to another. That was the most. Okay, let's see here.
For the virus and recently recovered, register now at blood.ca/health.
They're trying to study the antibodies and collect the antibodies.
An overcast gray Monday, but very comfortable temperatures.
You realize put somebody else's antibodies into another person
from their homeschool and
will trigger an immune system response you don't want to see.
Because very comfortable weather.
And who are you using this technique on? The people whose immune systems will fuck right up if you do this.
For Tuesday, near 0.
You ever hear of organ rejection?
Tuesday night, Wednesday, sun and cloud. Near 2 degrees. The guaranteed high today, 2.
But that's something good for us.
Downtown and at Pearson Airport, it's overcast and 0. 680 News Time, 1243.
Now the Dynamic Funds Market Minute.
Yeah, why is there a market minute?
Here's Irene Precliff. Sarah, the TSX at one point a triple-digit climb. Then we were just sort of dancing on either side of either between negative and positive. Now firmly in negative territory, down 24 points to 17,409. In terms of where we're seeing the drag, financials as well as industrials, as well as the info tech sector, gold stocks continue to be strong for the TSX. On Wall Street, we're looking at some of the biggest drops in more than 2 months. The Dow Jones is down 691 points. The S&P 500 dropping 78. The Nasdaq is lower by 316 percentage-wise. The biggest